Hi doll! Hey YouTube! So today I'm going to be repainting my Venus Mc Flytrap doll. She's a G1 Monster High doll. So this is actually going to be my third attempt at repainting her face. The first and second attempts were having issues with things like I don't know what I'm doing and sealant problems. Though the second one I used a different sealant from the first, and I kinda tried saving the face up with a thick glass varnish over the eyes, but it didn't work out that well. So now when I finally have Mr. Super Clear in my hands, I can hopefully give her a proper face. I'm still looking for other sealant alternatives for vinyl dolls though. So this Venus I'm working on was my first Monster High doll. And even though prior to getting her I did pay attention to Monster High dolls because I wanted to customize my original characters into physical form. But Monster High wasn't quite suitable for what I wanted. And BJDs were too expensive. Well, they ended up as BJDs anyway, but anyway. So for Venus at least I fell in love with her face sculpt. I have a tendency to really like sharp features. If you wouldn't really know from my channel, but from the anime I watch, I tend to prefer anime with the 90s anime aesthetics for those similar type of sharp features. And something just about it is what I like visually. So anyway, back to the face up. I very carefully use acetone to remove the previous face up and very carefully work around her flocking because I almost removed it when moving the first face up. So after some good spray of sealant, I start drawing the face. For some reason I confidently started with black watercolor pencil, which thankfully did not end up badly. Mostly blocking in the shape of the eyes. I'm not completely following the sculpting though, but mostly. So the style I'm doing for Venus's face is pretty much similar to her original face. I do have a reference of that off screen. So I mainly painted the face because I wanted a bit more natural looking. There's something about Monster High faces sometimes just screams to me a bit too much makeup. Probably because I don't really wear makeup myself at all, but I'm not sure. Excuse the cat in the background. She has too much energy tonight. So I once saw an artist on Instagram that pretty much redid Monster High faces very close to the original style, so I wanted to do something similar for Venus. The watercolor pencil I'm using is a kind of a no-name brand. I don't use specific brands, just what I find useful. So So after I'm happy with the eyeliner, I use some light green to block out her eyelids and eyebrows. Then I'll also go in with some pink for the inner corner of the eyebrows and inner corners of the eyes. I remember I accidentally had a nice pink to green gradient on the eyebrows on the first face up I did for Venus, and I wanted to recreate that. I also tried to recreate that on the second face up, but that didn't go very well. And still it seems like I'm cursed with the slightly higher right eyebrow than left eyebrow. Well, the doll's left, my right. Like most face ups I do somehow has that as an issue. It's practically a trademark. The only time I didn't actually did that was with some anime face ups, which I'm not sure how that worked out. It's probably eyebrow shape. Anyway, after I'm happy with the eyebrows, I go and block out my eyelashes with the green pencil. And after another layer of sealant, I go over the eyelashes with my black. Working slowly and carefully. Most of my footage is sped up to 300% if you want the time reference. And then I use some green and blues to block out the shape of the irises. I'm aiming for a bluish green color. Once again following with the original Venus's color scheme. The original doll I had bluish or greenish blue eyes, so I'm following through with that. And I try to add some more gradients with darker blues and black. And I skipped some steps, unfortunately. I'm not sure how I didn't record it. And I'm darkening the pink in the inner corners of the eyes, and then I tried to block out the shape of some eyeliner. I still want that somewhat graphic look that Monster High dolls have, even though I'm aiming for something that's slightly less heavy. And I bring out some pastel. some pinks for her lips, cheeks, and to intensify the color of the eyeshadow that I'm trying to do. Speaking of pink, generally I'm not a fan of the pink-green combo, and really green is one of my least favorite colors, but it works on Venus. But I was really surprised. I was more attracted to Venus as a doll than something like Draculaura, which is totally pink and up my alley. And surprisingly, out of the G3 dolls, the one I'm looking at the most is Gina Fire, who is also green. After another layer of sealant, I start solidifying the black and white with my paint. At least the eyeliner and eye whites and highlights in the eyes. Since at the time I did this face up, my nice white watercolor pencil was missing, and well, I'm stingy with my sealant, so I'm not going to go for a few hundred layers of sealant to get an opaque white when I can just do the paint. I tried adding a bit of white lines to the lips with my bad watercolor pencil. It didn't really work. And I go back to adding a few more details with my watercolor pencils. I didn't do the pupils in black paint, but with the watercolor pencils because I wanted a softer look. And after sealing, she's done. So time to dress her back up and take some photos. Unfortunately, it's pretty much winter now and all the plants outside are dead. So I didn't get some nice photos with our Venus, our plant lady in the plant life. But I hope you enjoyed this little face up and the pictures. And what do you think? Which Monster High doll was your favorite or your first? Thanks for watching. Bye bye.